Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We are going live on a Tuesday. It's about 4 o'clock. This one honestly isn't going to be a super long one. I normally come on here and I kind of use it as like a commercial to make sure everybody goes over and sees my two-man show that I normally run on Wednesdays with my buddy Jeremy over at Rock and Knoll. His YouTube page. We normally go live about 5 o'clock / 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and we kind of cover the world of wrestling from the last week. We do that normally in about an hour show, but I just got the text that Jeremy's got something else going on. So we'll do the show today anyways, because I kind of planned it out in my head what I was going to talk about throughout the day. And maybe tomorrow, if there's like some earth-shattering news out there in the world, we'll come back and we'll do it again. But this one, it might be a little bit of a refresher on the last two shows that I've done. The first one when the WWE ESPN deal was first announced, and then last week when the rumor was out that WWE is going to be programming a show to run against WWE All Out 2025. It seems that the rumor is out there and it gets stronger and stronger, and there's a little bit more blood in the water each and every day. Honestly, I kind of thought it was just like talk, but then 2 days ago, I fired up the podcast app when I was at work, and I was listening to the Masked Man show with David Shoemaker, and he actually was talking about the rumor. Now, he is a pretty well-respected wrestling journalist, and on his show, they talk about a lot of things that's going on in the world of wrestling, but kind of like those far-off rumors, they tend to kind of like stay away from them. They only kind of like talk about stuff that they really think is going to be having a chance. And he mentioned the show WWE Wrestlepalooza 2025. It's going to be coming from Indianapolis. And there's a good chance that we're going to jump the gun, and this WWE show is going to be put on ESPN. Now, I thought when they were saying ESPN, I thought it would be on in the world of Sacramento, California. I thought it was going to be like Comcast channel 32. I thought it was going to be normal ESPN, but what I think that they're working out is that the ESPN app that actually these PLEs are going to live on after WrestleMania 42 is launched August 21st. I think it's going to be on there. I'm not 100% sure where college football lives in the world. I know that there's a lot of college football because there's a lot of different teams, and just about everybody out there has a contract with some sort of conference to show certain games. But I'm guessing that ESPN on Saturday, roughly 5 o'clock / 8 o'clock Eastern, is going to be having some sort of primetime football game. Last week, I kind of ran through the games that are going to be that week. I remember there was an Oregon versus Oregon State. I believe it was Florida against Miami. There wasn't like a huge game. I remember even I think Nebraska played Michigan. Definitely something is going to be on ESPN that's going to be there. But when ESPN launches this direct to customer thing, they're going to need some big fireworks right out of the gate. The day that WWE was on ESPN and they were announcing their WWE PLE deal, they kept hitting over the head like $30 a month, to the point where a lot of WWE fans that were hearing these, I guess it wasn't rumors anymore, hearing this news, they were kind of like, this is going to cost us $30. We paid $10 for the WWE Network back in the day. Peacock at one point was $5. It's somewhere between 10 and 15 now. It seems like it's increasing a lot. I think that honestly, if WWE was going to be $30 a month for their PLEs, I think I would pay it. That's the God honest truth where I am with my wrestling fandom. If I ended up missing 2 or 3, wrestling when it's not live, it needs to either be like really old archival, like kind of like I'm going back and watching Brock versus Cena in 2013. I'll watch, the match. It's kind of hard to watch a whole show. Every once in a while, you fire up Money in the Bank, 2011. That seems to be a really good show. Some SummerSlams are good. Maybe you watch a WrestleMania and WrestleMania season. But, if I missed like 2 PLEs, that's the point when I would start thinking, like, do I need to have this? I think somewhere roughly in like 2021, I might have canceled Peacock for a bit because it seemed like I sort of disconnected with wrestling during the COVID. What was that? The Thunderdome era, maybe. Then that was like when Roman Reigns was like at his peak. But I just was at a point in my life when I had just sort of shut the door. I was still following wrestling news, but I just wasn't watching wrestling other than like Twitter clips that popped up somewhere along the way. But ESPN's going to need some blockbuster deal in order to get through, and I'm guessing just like everybody else, because as of right now, PLEs they live on Peacock. So why is Peacock not going to throw their arms up and say, hey, we have a contract with you. We need to have this PLE. That might be what's dragging their feet on actually announcing this show. But I think WWE is going to be able to say that when they signed their deal with Peacock, more than likely it was like the ESPN deal where they've said to live up to this deal, we have to deliver you, I think it was 10 PLEs a year over 12 nights, aka SummerSlam and WrestleMania are going to be 2-day events. In order to live up to the deal. If they want to have an extra show, they can ask ESPN, like, hey, can we have a feed on this night? We're going to have a show. It's going to be a Madison Square Garden house show or something like that, and it's going to be a special event. We want the world to see, and it's going to be up to ESPN if they go with that. I think because WWE has fulfilled their amount of shows on their contract, I think if they put out a new show, I think they could take it to where they're going to before. Now, the one thing that you can sort of look at, it is not WWE that's done this, but in the history of UFC, which is under the TKO banner, when UFC announced their ESPN deal, they were still on Spike TV. But they ran a special show on ESPN to announce them moving to ESPN. And maybe, WWE, they're still going to be in the NBC company. They're going to be having SmackDown on USA. Hopefully, the WWE library will live on Peacock the way that it is, minus, I guess, the Raws aren't there anymore. I should really go on there and dig and see what I can find and what I can't find, because most of the stuff I hear is like hearsay of like what is moving here, what is moving there, where is NXT going to live now that they're on the CW, like where are the old takeovers and so forth. But I don't know when UFC put the show on ESPN, it seemed to just be all good. Everybody was moving forward, and Spike TV. Does Spike TV even exist anymore, or did they become something else? I remember they used to be the Nashville Network. I think that's where Raw first moved, and then they changed the name to try and brand it as like a male-based cable network. I remember like the 1,000 Ways to Die and things like that that used to be on that network. They used to get me to watch it at random times of the day. It sort of got built into my quick scroll around the television to see what's going on. And now pretty much I turn on I don't even turn on Raw anymore because that's on Netflix. I think pretty much I go on YouTube TV. The one thing I look forward to see is Impractical Jokers on True TV. And then I pretty much move on and try and find something on demand, something that I've already recorded, I guess. Now with football coming up, they're going to be having that Cowboys documentary on Netflix. That should really be good. The Kingdom on ESPN. I think I started recording, but I haven't watched any. So there's going to be some good stuff on there. But yesterday on Observer Live, hosted by Brian Alvarez, he went as far as he was like, don't report this as news. Don't report this. I'm not reporting it. I'm just giving my observation. I'm giving my guess. I don't know why I'm giving Alvarez that weird voice. But Alvarez said he was 99% sure that this show was going to be on ESPN. That seems to be what all of the talk is behind the scenes. As of right now, I know that we have the Clash in Paris that's going to be coming up. And it's going to be played off of what happens on that show rolling into this next show. But if I had to have my guess, Brock versus Cena is definitely your huge main event. And then you're going to have probably in a one-on-one bout, a lot like the Netflix debut earlier on the year, you're going to have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, looking to hopefully be able to solve their problems in the ring, which is probably going to be something like where they ended up fighting forever. And at this point, I know that like it's already booked for Clash in Paris, but it's kind of like the only way I want to see these guys fight. I think I get hyped for Sheamus versus Rusev if they were to fight each other, but I don't like when Rusev fought against Sami Zayn. I found it honestly really, really weird and didn't love it. but they're just gonna fight forever. I'll just take it. And it's like a time machine taking me back to like 2013, 2014, something like that. Just wanted to live that over and over again. Last week, I threw the guess out there that like I talked about Cena versus Brock and like their rivalry with the Extreme Rules 2012 match, SummerSlam 2013, I think, and then the Night of Champions as well. And then I believe in 2014 or 15, they had the match with Rollins at the Rumble, which was on the road to WrestleMania 31. I guess that was that. I remember I watched that with my buddy Victor over at his place. That was a really, really fun night. I remember we had some Little Caesars and it was just an all out wrestle fest watching that bad boy. But I my guess was I thought Brock versus Cena would be a steel like not a steel cage, a Hell in the Cell match. And I've had a lot of people recommending that they think Rollins versus Punk will actually be the Hell in the Cell match. So I think it's just rolling up on that time of the year. I know that we're only in August. I don't know what time of year Bad Blood was last year when we got the Punk versus McIntyre, but normally like it was October when we had the actual WWE Hell in the Cell pay-per-view, which kind of killed it for you because there wasn't going to be a huge grand announcement of when somebody calls out somebody for a Hell in the Cell. You just looked at the calendar and you're like, oh, next month's going to be a Hell in the Cell, whatever's in the main event. But like now when you get it and you don't know about it, it is like, oh, you just like straight lose your mind. Punk versus Rollins in a Hell in the Cell match. Honestly, it has its pluses because you're going to be able to keep Heyman out. You're going to be able to keep Braun Breaker out. You're going to be able to keep Bronson Reed out. It's just going to be a straight up, just one-on-one affair. Somebody in the comments said that they didn't think Cena would be able to work a Hell in a Cell match because of the fact that he has to go to Hollywood. He has to make movies. You never know when he's going to be shooting his next TV show or doing some sort of press or something like that. Honestly, in my mind, I think you can work a Hell in a Cell match in these days since 2009. Yeah, guys get bloody, but like last year, it wasn't supposed to be an all-out bloodbath between McIntyre and Punk. It was when Punk, swung the toolbox and hit him in the top of the head, and it just hit him in a certain way that it was just blood was pouring like we were out at the ranch that day. But so I don't think when we say it's going to be on ESPN, I don't think it's going to be like directly on, just cable straight up ESPN. It's going to be a way for ESPN to get people to sign up, whether if it's hopefully free, whether it's something like we have to sign up for an ESPN Plus account where it's like $10 a month. Let's say it's $10 a month. Who's not doing this? I think even like a fringe WWE fan that seems to watch more AEW is going to be saying like, I got to sign up for this because like I can watch the shows like this. I know it's moving over to ESPN. We're not going to be getting Office reruns to live off of or Parks and Rec or anything like that. But I still think it's a good deal, even if the rumors are out there that basically you got YouTube TV, you got, Comcast, you got this, that, and the other. It's going to be free. I'm not ready to count my chickens before it hatches. I don't want to have that day where you're like, oh, I was wrong. So I just kind of keep it open. Like, yeah, this is what it's going to be. But this ESPN DTC thing isn't needed by everybody. But I know that at a point in my life, I didn't have cable, but I loved watching PTI come on TV every day at 2:30, seeing Kornheiser, seeing Wilbon. The part that killed me was I was able to listen to the podcast. So I was able to follow each and every day that I would listen. But when they would play the highlights, that was worth the price of admission to me. That I was like, when they talk about a clip and they're like, look at this, and I couldn't see it. That was like them pointing at me and be like, hey, you didn't pay for this. Like I took that personally, I guess. But in the beginning of this, we talked about this show being called Wrestlepalooza.